Welcome to the Crazy Cool Family Podcast with Don and Suzanne Manning. Parents, what if we could give you the power to transform your family into something absolutely amazing?
A family where everyone is healthy, gets along, loves Jesus, and has great purpose in life.
Hey, let us flip your thinking to unlock the power God has given you to create your own Crazy Cool family. Hey parents, welcome to the Crazy Cool Family Podcast. We are so excited to be here today because we have great words for you, because we're going to talk about words. We're going to talk about the power of our words as parents. And this is a little bit of a lofty topic.
Well, we just have wrestled with it. We just talked through it, and we want to articulate and bless you with what we have to say, but it is an idea and a concept that's what we would call next level. Yep. And so, but I do believe that if you just listen to it and if you grasp hold, and we've prayed before the podcast that the Lord will go before us and open up your minds and your hearts, and that what we say will resonate with you, and it'll have an impact on your family.
That our words today will impact the way you use your words with your kids. Because, you know, I don't know if you remember the saying, sticks and stones don't, may
will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Did you ever say that when you were a little kid on the playground when you came up against a bully? I mean, I remember saying that. I remember wrestling with that, thinking, well, no one's ever thrown sticks and stones at me before, but they've said mean words to me.
Oh, and those words hurt.
And those words hurt, yes.
Or if you've ever had, if you ever watch when you say something to a little boy or girl and you just say, you're amazing, or wow, I can't believe how you did that, and you just watch them swell up.
Yes.
And you literally physically see a difference. This is what some of the things we're talking about, that the power of our words, that literally... Parents, what we want to impart to you today is a very simple concept that is far-reaching in your parenting lives, that your words are a superpower.
Yeah.
That they're like, I think of them almost like a weapon. That, if you think about it, if I have this superpower weapon, then I can fight the enemy and I can protect my family with it. Mm-hmm. But if I turn turn that weapon internally, I can also do a lot of damage. But just thinking about it as it's this powerful tool that we can use to literally shape our family.
Well, yeah, and so what it does is it changes attitudes and behaviors and beliefs. It changes perspectives and ideas. That our words can change the lies that somebody's telling themselves and they're believing, or the choices that they're making, or if they have a plan or a direction. Your child's running into the street, and we say, "Stop! Don't run into the street." Our words changed their behavior. It stopped them.
Or, and on the negative side, it can literally instill doubt. It can instill lack of confidence. You can instill, think about that. That was one of the big things, especially when I was a young parent and I had 4 daughters, and I realized and with the best intentions, I was trying to help them. But in reality, my negative words, my correcting words, a lot of the things I was doing with great intentions.
Right.
Now, sometimes I lost my self-control, and all of us as parents lose it, and we have to go back and ask forgiveness, and we know those things, but
that's not what we're really talking about. Those are powerful and those are words, but what we're really talking about is just the everyday words. It's the interaction that you have with your children all the time. What are we saying? When we understand, this is our main point, we want you to think about this. When we understand the power of our words, we will choose what we say out loud more carefully.
Yeah, so often we see that parents, they don't get it. And
we didn't either.
And what we try to help teach parents is that you don't really know. Helping you under what she said in that is when we understand the power of our words. Because the scripture's full of thoughts about what, Proverbs 18:21 says, death and life, that's harsh. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it eat its fruits.
Yeah.
Matthew 12 says, 36 and 37 says, I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will give account for every careless word they speak. Okay, more conviction.
Well, yeah, I mean, and just to think about that, parents, as we do interact with our little people and we think that we need to use that harsh tone or those rude words to motivate them to do what we want them to do, reality is you're going to stand before the Lord someday and have to tell him why you called your child a brat. I mean, and believe me, I did. I called my children brat. So I am, Lord, please forgive me. I shouldn't have said that. That was not good. Little kid, please forgive me. So yeah, I mean, our words are held at a very high esteem to the Lord even. Okay.
Yeah, so Ephesians 4:29, I love this verse. Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. We want our words, think about that, parents. We want our words to give grace. Mm-hmm. We want our words to, and a lot of parents think, oh, I can't, you're telling me I can't correct my child. And then we also hear a lot of parents talk about, well, we can't say anything to our kids anymore. It's the trophy generation. Everybody gets a trophy. We've always got to tell them good things. Listen, we are not taking the power in any way away from you as parents. In fact, we are actually calling our kids to as high or high a standard as anyone will. It's just a different way to do it. And it's our words are so powerful in inspiring the best in our kids if we use them right.
Well, yeah, and I just think that it's actually next level. We're not taking anything away from you. We're actually empowering you with the understanding that words are superpowers and that you can literally change the course of your children by just what you say to them. I think it's so powerful. I mean, I go back to words are powerful. The Bible started with God created the world with his words, let there be light. I mean, with his word. And so he set the tone at the very beginning of time with our words are powerful. And so we just want you parents to pay attention to that and understand that. And so to talk about it, I guess on the negative side a little bit, we're going to have a few podcasts that talk about it on the positive side, but the negative side, how do we hurt our kids with our words? What are some of the things that we're doing as parents that we might not even be aware of?
Yeah. So, comparisons, those can be huge. I wish you were more like, and sometimes it's even subtle. I remember, Suzanne, you were telling me, we were talking about the podcast about how your father talked about the little girl with curls.
Right.
And tell them that story, because I think that's a great illustration of
comparison. And he didn't even mean to. It wasn't something my father set out to hurt me or to make me feel bad about myself, but I have straight hair. I mean, it's just straight. And from the moment I was born until this day today, it's just straight. But he had said something about, isn't that little girl's little curls just so cute? And as my little girl heart heard, oh, Daddy likes curls more than he likes straight hair. And so Daddy likes her more than he likes me. And I'm never going to live up. And I even remember having my mom curl my hair with sponge rollers for several days or weeks just so that I could, in my little girl mind, get in my dad's good graces.
Yeah.
Dad never once thought about that as being something that would bother me, but it was a comparison. And when we compare our children, what happens is we set them up against a standard. We might not even realize it. We might be even just acknowledging something or drawing something out or seeing a quality that we like in someone, and we bring that to them. But as soon as we put them in the equation, then they become less than.
And so realize, parents, that your kids are always thinking what you're saying is a judgment of them, because they're filtering it through their own insecurities and their own stuff.
What's their own identity? Because they get their identity from you. And so everything you say to them becomes an identity statement, whether it's positive, whether it's negative, comparison. Yes.
And so really, as we go through this podcast, we'll talk about some of the negative things here, but realize that what we're talking about is how we talk to them along the way. That all day long we're interacting with our kids. And one of the questions that you may want to ask is that, how is my child experiencing what I'm saying to him or her? How is this going to shape what is going to, what impact do I want to have with what I'm saying?
Yeah, because here's the deal. We have to be careful with what we're saying to our kids because they might agree with us. And so if we're saying, oh, you're dumb or you're clumsy, you're naughty, you're sloppy, I'm disappointed, this is, this is frustrating, you're a brat, then they might literally attach that to themselves. Well, I'm dumb. Well, I'm clumsy. I remember my sister was left-handed, and I remember my dad thinking that, and he was right-handed, and thank God I was right-handed because he thought left-handed was less. I mean, and so my sister grew up thinking left, and my mom was left-handed, right. And so it just worked out. But it's like, as kids, we attach what you're saying to us, whether it's negative or positive. It's part of who we become.
Well, and I have a story about that too, because I am left-handed. I guess I am less,
according to Bob, but not according to the world.
Well,
you're more creative.
But what happened is that, and I think this has a great little illustration, because what happened was I was naturally left-handed, but I was taught to do a lot of things right-handed because that's the way the world went. And instead
that was my dad's reasoning. The world is a right-handed world.
And so I'm gonna see if I can get this point out to you, because it's but what happens is that when we look at our children, sometimes we are saying things to them that we think they need to be shaped in a certain way. But in reality, God has made them different. Mm-hmm. And so when we look, so this is part of, along the way, part of understanding the power of your words. Asking God, what does God want from my child? And what is best for them? Not what is not acting out of my own fears, not acting out of what other people think, but who is my child? Yes. And what is best for them? So, if my child's left-handed, then let's make him into the best left-handed, could he be a left-handed baseball pitcher? What about, there's
so called left paws or something
South paws. Yes, not left.
North paw.
Yeah,
West paw kid.
My wife is the baseball expert, I guess. That's funny, a left paw. So what is it? I mean, that's just a really silly example. But what is it that we're doing to bring out the best along the way? So think about this, parents. Along the way, what are you saying to your child to bring out the best in them? So, for example, that's why we caution parents on what we call excessive correction.
Yeah.
We've got to tell our kid, okay, you don't eat that, use a fork this way, or clean your room or whatever. But when you never clean up your room.
Right.
Why do I have to tell you this? So, I can't believe that you're not making these grades. Why do you always not turn in you're speaking identity into them when you do that. And so we tell parents all the time, be not correct, be careful with your correction, because what you're saying is going to speak life into your kid.
Yeah, I think that for some reason, as parents default so much on that criticism and that negative language, believing that that's what is needed to make our children responsible. And I just want to break down that thought process in you, and just to encourage you that that's not at all how it has to happen. You can actually encourage and redirect and inspire your children to be responsible, and they will choose to be. It actually it's almost a shortcut to the behavior that you want, because you don't have to tear them down to get there. You're actually building them up to get there. So then they want to be there.
Yeah, and I think that, again, we're talking about, so let's go back, and we realize this is a lofty concept. That's why we kind of keep coming back to it.
And we don't want to talk about the negative, just the negative. We want to infuse the positive.
We want to be careful in how we speak to our kids, but it's also just along the way that we realize throughout the day, because so many times as parents, we feel like every situation we have with them is some kind of correction situation. What about if we just be with them? Mm-hmm. What if you're just with your kids and you don't focus on...
just enjoying them as a person and not so much as somebody you're in charge of.
Yeah, so maybe when they get in the car after school, it's not a, let's figure out what all I need to correct in you because, before we get home. It's let's just enjoy them. Hey, wow, let me tell you about my day. I want to hear about your day, and those type things that were just along the way. We're being their friend. We're building a relationship with them. And so often that, let's come home and let's just talk about life, or let's play a game, or let's do something that is not involved with, how they need to get better in life.
Right. And I just think that one of the overall ways to talk to your kids, when you pay attention to your words, is to just use your kindness and respect and honor and value them, your tone of voice, all of those things. If you pay attention to those things when you're using your words with your kids, then that's what helps them feel like real people. That's what infuses identity into them.
And it also, today we have 7 kids, and they're all, from 31 to 14. When we get together, it's fun. And it's an enjoyable thing. We have the brothers and sisters are investing in one another, figuring out things about their lives. A lot of questions come up about, what's God doing in your life, and what their interests are and things like that. Guess what? We built that 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. We built that when they were 5, 6, 7, 12, 14, when we had those conversations, because someone taught us that, hey, be careful, your words are powerful. And, I first learned it, for me as a dad, I learned it first just watching the power of my words, and when I corrected my daughters, how it melted them.
On their countenance, yeah.
Yes, and I just started, and I was like, I've got to fix this, because unknowingly at first, and then knowingly and still doing it, mm-hmm. I was hurting my relationship with them, as well as I just saw their countenance. They felt like they could never please me. They felt like it would, and like, for example, I was their coach and in basketball and baseball, and so, or whatever it was. And I made sure when we got in that car after the games that we were going to talk about how we could improve, what we could do better. Thought, man, I'm a great coach, great dad. But in reality, it's like I needed to pick a different strategy for that, different time. That after the game was the worst time to talk to them about it.
Right, because they're feeling vulnerable there, and they need to be built up and encouraged. Like, they are feeling insecure about how they played. And so to have all the things that they were told that they did wrong brought up to them at that time is wounding.
Yeah, and realize that, your kids are pretty hard on themselves. They may not act like it, but they are, because they're comparing themselves and
they want to please you.
And that's another thing we tell parents a lot in this philosophy, if you will. The world is always telling your kids how they don't measure up. It's telling them they're not good enough. It's telling them they're not smart enough. It's telling them they're not,
pretty enough,
fast enough, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so when we add to that language throughout the day, along the way, we don't realize it as parents, but we're building a negative self-esteem for them. We're building a negative identity. I am not enough.
And so I think that as parents, I know that I underestimate some of the things that I said to them when they were little. I actually went back and asked the girls, okay, so what is something that I said to you when you were little? Just to give you guys an example of something that you might be saying to your kids that we don't even realize is powerful and it's building into them. And Macy said that she remembers when she would wake up in the morning that I would say, and her hair was a mess. She had the softest, finest hair ever. I mean, it was just this brown, beautiful, and it was just a tangled mess. And I would say, well, look at that little rat's nest, and that was like, I don't know that it was a compliment necessarily, but it wasn't something like, oh my gosh, your hair looks horrific. But it's like, look, you woke up with a little rat's nest. Well, that hurt her little feelings and I didn't even know it. Or another time, Mackenzie was telling me that she would say, Mom, I love you. And I would go, mm-hmm. And
she said that all the time, because she was a very loving
She
girl.
said, I love you all the time. Yeah. But it wasn't so much that I didn't love her back, but it was that I was caught up in the things that I was doing in my day. And so parents, listen to that. Our kids are little sponges, and they are absorbing every interaction that we have with them, positive, negative, whatever it is. And so my little girl sends out a little connection line, Mom, I love you. And I'm too busy doing whatever task it is, laundry, dishes, whatever that is, to pay attention to her enough to say, hey, babe, I love you too. Or I think you're the best, or anything else to connect back with her.
Other than uh-huh.
And her interpretation of that was that she was not important enough for me to connect with.
Yeah. And so
it's the power of our words said and unsaid. It's the power of sticks and stones do hurt, but words do hurt.
Yeah, as we start to land the plane here on the podcast, let's flip it a little bit, because at this point you may be, as parents, going, oh my goodness, I'm a terrible parent. I'm always messing up with my words or whatever. And I want to just give you a couple of thoughts with that as we start to move towards, one of them is that's not true. You're not a terrible parent. And our kids are resilient, and we're just trying to bring awareness of things here. And as we get to the end of the podcast, let's talk about what we can do to pay attention to just some practical things that we can do to flip it to where we're more. Remember what we said is let's be aware of it, and then let's do it. Let's have our words change along the way as we are talking to them, because and it's easy. Here's the deal: we can change it so quickly because powerful words can be said immediately, and they can have an immediate impact. So, what are some...
And so use them. I mean, like we just challenge you today to say something encouraging and positive to your children, and watch that interaction, watch their countenance change, and then get addicted to the change, that positive change. And then you're going to, I don't even have to challenge you to say something negative or corrective to your child that's going to tear them down, because we do that automatically as parents. And it's our role. It's our job. We're supposed to. We need to redirect our kids. But I encourage you to watch their countenance then too. Watch that and just study your children, to be a student of your children in what you say to them, because what we really want you to do is just know that your words are powerful. And so just start paying attention to them.
Yeah, and some ways to do that. Just see them as real people. So often we see parents that talk to their kids totally differently than they do their friends, and just have times that you just see them as real people and talk to them like that. Hey, because even your three, it's so funny. We we have grandkids now. Of course, we've told you about this, but our daughters do such a great job of just talking to their 1-year-olds like they're real people. And I hope they learned it from us. But I mean, it's so cool to see that next generation and that our kids, and they just talk to them. So you can even do that with, Madeline's like, hey, Truett, we're going to the store, and and here's what we're going to do, and they just kind of keeps them informed in their little 1-year-old lives.
What was she doing the other day when we were in the car with her? She was describing precipitation. Precipitation is that wetness on the windows. Do you see those little droplets on the window? And he's one, and we're just Don and I are just laughing at her.
But it's just being with them as real people. Suzanne said this is to honor them with kindness and respect as real people. And as you talk to them, is your speech characterized with kindness? Are you honoring them with your speech, or are you degrading them? Are you talking down to them?
I remember when this point hit home with me and my parenting, and we had gone to the store, and I had, been rude to the kids in the car on the way there. We talked to the store lady who's checking us out. I'm nice, kind, polite to this lady I've never seen before and have never seen again. And then I get back in the car and I'm rude to my kids again. And it was like the whole conviction just came on me. You are nicer to that stranger than you are to the people that are in this car with you right now, and to the little people that God has given you to disciple and take care of. And it was at that point that I was like, oh, I need to treat my children like I treat my neighbor, like I treat
and we're with our kids in the car, or at dinner time, at bedtime. Bedtime's a great time to encourage your kids. And so as I'm trying to, bring this home for you parents, it seems like there's really 3 things that come at it. One of them is to less correction and being careful with our correction. The second thing is just to be with them, at dinner time, just have fun, just to have more times of just being with them and being friends with them, if you will.
And being present. Don't say,
And then, yeah, and the third thing is just then to take it to the next level and to be encouraging, to do things that speak life into them. And what are those things? It's like at bedtime, you know what? You are so beautiful. You are a mighty man of God. You're a mighty prince. You are a princess.
You're so strong.
Yeah.
You're so brave. You're so intelligent. God has given you such a beautiful mind. I mean, just all of those things just to bring out in them so that when they are running that track, because remember we said earlier that be careful what you say to them because they're going to believe it.
Right.
And so when you're saying the positive things, don't be careful. Unleash it. Say all the positive things because those are the things that they're going to fall asleep to that night and they're going to wake up to the next morning. My daddy thinks I'm beautiful.
Right.
My mommy thinks I'm so smart.
One of the things I love to say to our kids is I'm so glad God put you in our family. Mm-hmm. You are just, man, you bring so much to our family. I don't know what we'd do without you. Mm-hmm. Just things like that. Find your pet phrase that you're going to say. I tell my boys, you are guys, or I stole it from somebody, I'm sure. You're a mighty man of God.
Our pastor.
Yeah, you're a mighty man of God. Act like it. You are... I'm
so proud of you because you're a mighty man of God. Or I saw how you were a mighty man of God in that today, on that football field today, and it was very impressive.
Yeah, you can do this. As another one that, hey, you're having a little trouble in school, but hey, man, you got this. You're a smart. You're funny. You got all the tools. Go get it. I believe in you. That's another one. I believe in you. Just You see what we're saying as we wrap up today? I've been saying we're wrapping up for about 10 minutes here.
I know you said it 4 times, but that's okay. We're going to wrap it this time.
Exactly. Is what we're going to end where we started. That we want you to pay very much attention to what you're saying to your kids along the way throughout the day.
Yeah.
And because your words are powerful.
And understand that. Understand the power of your words.
Yes.
And when you do that, then you're going to choose what you say out loud more carefully.
Yep. And it's going to make a huge impact. Probably, this is one we talk about it all the time. It's one of the biggest impacts we've had in our parenting is changing the way we speak to our kids. Your words are powerful, and we know that this is going to be, in the next few weeks, we're going to give you a little bit more practical ways to do this, so get ready for that. Go listen to the podcast to come over the next few weeks, because we're
super exciting about those. We're going to talk about encouragement. We're going to talk about blessing, gratefulness, just all the positive things. This one was the negative one. Whew, we got the negative one out of the way. Let's talk about the positive now.
We believe in you. To be powerful parents that can change the hearts of your kids. And
then I do just want to send you to a free resource we have on our website, crazycoolfamily.com, things to say to your positive things, encouraging things to say to your kids. And so go check that out if you're struggling with something to say to your kids, because that's there as well to help you.
And so for the 5th time, I'm going to end this podcast. So, hey, go be crazy parents and be crazy in your talking to your kids. Give them powerful words of inspiration and hope. Go be crazy, crazycoolfamily.com.